Chickadee chick chick chicken Chinese chicken. Here we go now. Caden, are you still streaming? Huh? Caden, are you still streaming? Okay, thank you. All right, what's going on, everybody? Oh, chat's unavailable, huh? All right, let's see if I can get that fixed. I'm doing something wrong, apparently. I don't know. Having some issues with it. Tiger Raven says, "Go Tigers." That's right, buddy. Looks like you guys are having a pretty good year so far. Certainly can't complain about that. I don't know what's going on with my browser chat, dude. It's crazy. Let me dump this all the way out and then do OK. See if I can bring it all the way back up. There we go. All right. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Ooh. What's up, Beth? How you doing? Yeah, strong, huh? That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, does the stream really look that bad? Or is it just on my computer? I think I just got it turned on my computer. Oh, yeah. I got the quality at 144. No wonder. For those of you for those of you who just joined, um, this LSU DV 124 is is trying to be a super troll, man. Who wins the Florida South Carolina game? It's actually a really good question, um, and one I certainly am going to cover here in a second. But I want to pull up something real quick before I jump into that. So if you want my take on it, let's go to schedule. Pull up South Carolina. Here we go, right there. Oh snap! I do not want that. Get that out of here. That game, the South Carolina game, is a noon game. And Florida, I mean, you would think Florida is going to steamroll these guys, but here's the thing, right? I think 23-16 is probably pretty accurate LSU. If you look at if you actually look at Florida's defense, the only team that scored more than that scored the most on them was Mizzou, and they had Kelly Brown as a quarterback. They got 34, and Alabama put up 47. Kentucky only scored 17. Georgia 7. Georgia only scored 17. Um, and the Tar Heels only scored 20. So I mean, they're actually playing some pretty solid defense, man. So that having been said, I mean, Florida's looked like Florida has struggled at times to be able to move the ball. Their offense has been a little shaky here and there. I mean, they've only had, let's see, they've had 2 games, well, 3 games. They've had 3 games where they've scored more than 34 points. One was against UTM, which is a nobody team. They only scored 24 points against Miami. They scored 29 against Kentucky. They only scored 34 against Tennessee. They scored 38 against TOU and 24 against Auburn. I mean, so you would probably have to say that the offense is probably not their strong suit. Their defense has been pretty stout. So yeah. Hold on a second here. Something just went crazy on my OBS. Hold on. I'm trying to get all this sorted out real quick, guys. I don't have no idea what I just did. I did something that like clicked to the side. It just was really weird. I don't know. It's never done that before. I got it fixed though. I think I got it fixed. All right. So to respond to LSU, just so you know, dude, I've got my filters and everything set up so that if you post something that hits one of the filters, it's not going to go through. So it's YouTube's automatically going to kick it out. So um, you say you live in Georgia, it's terrible. The fans are terrible. The food's terrible. The traffic's terrible. Education's terrible, and you're never coming back after you move to Baton Rouge. I've lived in Louisiana, sir. Um, I don't really see a noticeable difference between the two. Can't say anything after U.S. secondary got embarrassed last week. Good to see all screens were not smashed Saturday. Yeah, something like that. Uh, so let's see here. So, obviously this weekend we've got the University of Tennessee coming up, and this game, University of Tennessee has been a team that's traditionally not been a an amazing football team. So whenever you're looking at their wins versus their losses, right now they're 3-3. They've got a win over I think Toledo, a win over EMU. The loss to Florida was only by 8 points. They lost to Mississippi State by 2 touchdowns. They lost to South Carolina. They only scored 7 points. South Carolina scored 24. And then they barely beat Arkansas, and then they've got Georgia coming up. So Georgia's definitely going to be looking for some revenge after that last game. It's just not been not not been a good week. You're um, wanting to try and recover from that embarrassing loss to South Carolina. It's been a bad week all around. Yeah, next time holler, I'll adopt it. What are you talking about? Oh, your TV. I did not spend a lot of money on that TV. Let's just leave it at that. 47 degrees up here in Terrapin because of the wind. LSU says go Tigers. Um, let's see. I forget what the temperature is here right now, but it is not hot. It's supposed to get down to, I think it's supposed to get down to 38 where we're at tonight. Let me see what it is right now. Right now it's 50, feels like 48, and then it's going to get down to 40 tonight. So, man, so many people were shocked about that, man. It was terrible. One of the things I was looking at, I've been trying to make sense of that game, um, and just trying to look at it objectively, look at it from all angles, because obviously you want to be able to look at a game and make the corrections you need to make, and you don't want to fool yourself into selling yourself some BS excuse. I mean, you've got to look that loss right in the face, figure out what went wrong, and try to fix it. So yeah, Joe Burrow is greater than Jake Fromm. At this point, I'd have to agree. Um, Joe Burrow has definitely changed quite a bit since Coach O upgraded their offense. Something that Georgia desperately needs to do, um, and that's one of the reasons that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. So, if you look at that game, Georgia had only allowed 17 points. The defense only allowed 17 points. Um, so the defense was doing its job. Hang on a second. hmm Would I rather take Tua or Joe Burrow? I'd have to take Tua. He's just got more experience. Anyone else think Kirby should look at Coach O, give him an offense, give up all offensive play calling? I'm from Georgia, Tyrus. Justin Fields is a great quarterback. None, I've never said any different. I just said that he didn't fit Georgia's scheme very well. So once he got into a scheme that actually fit what his talent set was, he's thriving, and he should be. He's an amazing talent. So I wish that guy the best of luck. Defense only allowed 13, and Jake Sparrow was. Yeah, that is correct, sir. Unfortunately, Rodrigo Blankenship took that loss pretty hard. He blamed himself for that, and he really shouldn't have. I would rather have seen him miss the field goal kick from 58 or 60 or whatever it was Then I had see him miss that final kick and blame himself like that. That was just bad coaching, bad play calling. Um, I'm from Southwest Georgia, but I don't live there anymore. I live in North Georgia now. But I have lived all over the United States though. The thing about Georgia's offense right now is that Georgia's offense has a lot of very young receivers, and the problem is that they're having difficulty creating space and being able to get open. Now, yes, you could argue that some of what Jake Fromm needs to do is throw a receiver open, but on more experienced backs, it's pretty difficult to do. Notre Dame did this. Um, all kickers make mistakes. Hot Rod still misses one. Some is still. Oh yeah, he's by far the best kicker in the country. There's no doubt, in my mind at least. So when you look at um, the way Georgia played against Notre Dame, and then you look at the way that Georgia played against Tennessee, and then you look at the way that Georgia played against South Carolina, you'll see that all three of those teams did the same thing on defense. They all played man defense all night long. No matter what was going on, they played man defense, and that forced Georgia to try to beat him with Jake's arm. And it's been proven that if Jake Fromm throws more than 30 passes, he's going to struggle. So Kirby has to let go of being hands on everything. Yeah, yep. Run the ball and play defense. Yep. So, in which to a point that works, but you have to have an offense that's effective. So yeah, you can keep the excellent defense, but you have to have an offense that can score no matter what, or you're going to lose games, which is what we just saw against South Carolina. So South Carolina's got an okay football team. There's obviously no superstar team, but Muschamp had enough tape to watch to go in there and see what to do. Georgia's offensive coordinator is James Coley. But let me tell you something about James Coley. James Coley was an assistant coordinator who was hired from within. And there's a lot of speculation, especially around Dogs fans, that think that the reason that they hired James Coley for that job was so that Kirby Smart could continue to run the offense the way he wanted to. But that's not working real well. Hey, appreciate that, Bigfoot man. I'm trying. I don't know how good it's looking, but I'm trying. I was more concerned about the audio echoing and just not seeing that. I didn't want the audio to echo. Thoughts on Kentucky versus Georgia? If Georgia can figure out a way to move the ball through the air without having to depend on just the run game, then I mean Georgia's offense has got to take a step in that direction. Kirby Smart is too hands on, or appears to be too hands on with the offense. You can play great defense, but um, you've got to be able to play enough offense to keep him honest, throwing the ball and catching the ball. VT Dub says, "What is wrong with Swift? He doesn't have that explosive and ankle breaking moves that we're used to. You do. I think he's banged up. No. What I think has happened is because I got to get a little bit more into how football works in order for this to make sense. When you play man-to-man defense, what it allows you to do is it gives you an extra hat in the box. So it gives you an extra man to step up and stop the run. And a lot of times that makes all the difference in the world. So when the majority of the time Georgia has been running up the middle, 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 they're just going to play man-to-man. Jake Fromm can't beat them with his arm because these young receivers just don't know how to get open against experienced backs. Then they hand off and they run the ball up the middle. Well, you've got an extra hat standing in the box, so it makes it extremely difficult to run. Before, Jake Fromm had the kind of receivers that could create space on enough plays that you had to play zone defense from time to time. And whenever you do that, that would allow Jake Fromm to check into a run play. That's normally an RPO. Check into a run play, and then you could see Swift with those amazing plays. But he just doesn't have enough. Enough experience on those receivers. One of the things they desperately need to do is they desperately need to hire some type of wide receivers coach, an experienced NFL wide receivers coach, or an experienced NFL wide receiver to come in and give these guys a training camp and teach them how to create space even against experienced college backs. What's going on, Carolina fan? Talk. Man, did you ever find out the South Carolina defense you was looking for? Yeah, I found it. It showed it right in the middle of the field, man. Couldn't miss it. Get rid of Coley. Get everybody off the milk. They have playmakers. How about utilizing them? Um, I don't necessarily think that it's Coley. I don't think LSU DV, bro. Nobody in the chat can see the stuff that you're throwing in there because the filter's stopping it. So if you throw another F bomb in there, it's just gonna stop it. It's not gonna go through. And if you find a way to slip it through it, I'm just gonna kick you off the channel, man. So do what you want to do. I don't know. Um, the O line wasn't exactly creating time and space. The O line was more about protecting Jake Fromm, which they did a pretty good job of. He was only under duress a handful of times. Um, and the one time he got sacked one time, and the one time he was really under duress, he backed it up and threw it off his back foot, and that's what got intercepted for a pick six. LSU DV, Tiger Ravens in here all the time, VT Dubs in here all the time. I'm gonna ask them: have either one of you gentlemen seen um, the actual F word in chat from LSU DV? Just because it doesn't say anything, it it's not going to tell you that your chat has been filtered. Nobody else can see it. It doesn't matter if you type it in caps. So do what you want to do. Yeah, VT Dub just said I haven't seen it once. That's because the filter system that YouTube has curtails all that stuff out. Yeah, this guy's living. This guy, I'm living rent free in this guy's head, man. That doesn't work. Look, YouTube knows that even if you alter the spelling of these words, what you're trying to do, what you just try to do is just blot it out again. So do what you want to do, man. You're just gonna get ignored in here. Pretty good camaraderie in this little room here. So anyway, looking at the Kentucky game, I think that Georgia's got enough talent that it can absolutely beat Kentucky, but we've got to be able to turn Jake Fromm loose. We've got to be able to have those guys to filter it out again. LSU. Hold on, guys. Let me get rid of this guy. Look how childish that makes you look, man. Good night. Oh man, some people's kids. My thoughts on Clemson versus Louisville. What's Louisville like? 1-4. They had a terrible year, man. He's just terrible. I think Clemson's going to absolutely destroy him. I mean, it's one of those noon games where you kind of wonder what's going to happen at a noon game, but not with Clemson. Clemson should be able to just absolutely destroy these guys. There. You don't think Bama can keep up with LSU offense? I don't either. It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. Give me a second, guys. Trying to pull up something here. that fixed. 1 second here. Do, 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 do. There we go. All right, I just restored the slow mode is off. Chat away. No, what I did is I put it on slow mode so that I could actually pretty easily go over there and just remove LSU and everything he put on the channel. So now not only can he not only was all of his comments removed, now he can't comment on the channel at all. So good for him. Is defense going in college football? No, you got to have some semblance of defense. Otherwise, the offense doesn't matter. And that's what you see in some of the Big 12 games, Big 10 games. High-powered, high-scoring offense, and then when they get in there and they actually have to play against a team that plays good defense, they struggle. Meanwhile, the team that they're playing against may have a moderate to pretty good offense, but they play excellent defense. Free Antonio Brown. um, then those teams struggle because they don't know what to do with a team that can't play. Have a good night, Iceberg Players. Iceberg plays. Time to switch over to water, I guess. Woo! You will see me Saturday, sir. I will be here. Win, lose, or draw. Hey, what's going on, Salty Dog? Yeah, he jumped in here right out of the gate, man. I just don't understand because we haven't played LSU in like since last year. So I mean, I really don't know what that guy was. That guy was freaking out about. It was weird. But I mean, it's nice living rent free in somebody's head, I guess. Wish I could live rent free somewhere else. I don't think. I think Georgia has more than enough talent to be able to overwhelm Florida. I think the problem is that in the offensive play calling, you have to be able to play football in a manner that forces the other team to have to be honest. If, for instance, if all you do is run the ball and you just run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, you're going to struggle. What's up, Haywood? Oh, you guys and some of your names. Um, Georgia's got to fix that piece of their offense. If you go back and look, what's going on, Jesse? If you go back and you look at what Georgia's doing as far as offense goes, their offense is fine whenever the guys can get open. We've talked about Georgia needing a passing game for more than a couple years now. What's going on with our dogs? We need answers. What's going on with our dogs is that the coaches out there have figured out that the receivers can't create space against the defensive back, so they just play man coverage, gives them an opportunity to put an extra man in a box. When you try to run a ball up the gut, they get shut down. And when you can't run it, you can't throw it. So what do? Yeah, you do the best you can, and then you end up throwing interceptions. Um, I'm all Kirby, but am I starting to question his in-game coaching? No coach is perfect. No player is perfect. So given enough time, I mean, a lot of these coaches at this level are extremely talented. Um, Thanks, Russell. I appreciate it, man. Thanks, sir. Glad to be doing it. Georgia's got to evolve just like everybody else. If you look, and one of the prime examples that I keep pointing at is LSU. If you look at LSU decided that the way they were playing football was have a great offense, a great defense, and an okay offense, um, and try to beat teams that way. They would do really well until they would play against a team that was really good at defense and pretty good at offense, and then they would struggle mightily. Sometimes win, sometimes lose. Coach O decided he didn't want to play football that way anymore. He wanted to evolve the program, and so that's what he did. He found a way to evolve the program. So now what you're seeing teams starting to progress in that direction. I mean, Alabama's doing it, LSU's doing it, Georgia's going to have to do it. So if they want to compete, that's what they got to do. What is my opinion of Trevor Lawrence so far? Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. He doesn't look like what he did last year, um, but he's a good quarterback. Is he going to carry him through the ACC? Yes. Ooh. But I suspect that if he continues to play like he's playing, they'll probably get knocked out first round in the playoffs. Zach Games says, who's winning the SEC this year, Florida, LSU, or Alabama? I think it really depends on what's going on with that LSU Alabama game, and I would pick whoever wins that. Jake Fromm's the top five quarterback in the SEC. He just isn't being put in a position to succeed. I don't know that he's not being put in a position so much as the play calls haven't been there. There's a 404 number here. Give me a second here. I'm going to call you right back. This thing still doesn't work perfectly, but we'll make it work as best we can. All right. So I'm going to call whoever that was. I'm going to call him back. Hopefully it was somebody that was calling the show.
The party you are trying to reach does not accept calls from numbers with caller ID blocked.
Well, I didn't know I had caller ID blocked. I don't know how to turn that off either. Nope, 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 nope. Don't want to do that. Oh. Whoever that was, hang on a second. Try and get you. Try and get you. We'll do it the old-fashioned way here. I don't know. Well, guys, numbers up on the screen. If you want to call in, go ahead and call in. And what I'll do is I'll get that number and call you right back. Just make sure your stuff doesn't block you if you have caller ID blocked. I don't know why mine's set up that way, but it is. Oh, did I knocked the chat out? Hold on. Let's see. What's going on, Gamecock fan? What's going on, Blake West? Fromm is our Franks. Get rid of him. Seems like he totes those playoff losses. EJ needs to change. Well, who you gonna put in, man? We put Stetson Bennett in that one game, and it was terrible. Hang on. Let's see who we got here, guys. All right. How you doing there, sir? Can you hear me? What's going on, man? All right, knock yourself out. I think Joe Burrows is playing at an outstanding level. It's really surprising to see how well he's playing once they have changed the offense at LSU. Given, yeah, the kid can definitely play. That high, more speed seems to have helped him. Seems like when the game slows down, he kind of second guesses himself. Do I think he's good enough at play at Alabama? I certainly think he's good enough to play at Alabama. I think he's good enough to beat Alabama. If LSU can continue to play like they're playing, they could win. Well, the way the defense has been playing so far, yes, but there's three there's three things that you have to do at Alabama to stop them, and you have to stop the three wide receivers they have. That's the three things you have to do.
Judy Smith, I'm like Damien, like all those guys are insane. Henry Ruggs, they're too good.
Well, the thing is that rarely will you see all three of those guys on the same field at the same time. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to usually pull a safety over to whichever guy, depending on what play they draw up. try to lean a safety to one side or the other and force Tua to throw to the lesser talented receiver on one side of the field. If you can stop the
Yeah,
run
I know.
game enough, if you can stop the run game enough, then you can have what's called a jack linebacker. And a jack linebacker is kind of a hybrid between a regular linebacker and a safety. And so he can pull over to one side and kind of shut that down. But in order to do that,
I
LSU
don't.
has to have some success stopping the run.
Yeah, I think we're good enough to stop the run game, but I don't know about. We have the talent to stop the pass, like in Delpit and Stingley and Divinity. They're so good, but like just the way he's been playing like the past couple weeks hasn't, especially against Vanderbilt, hasn't really been that good.
But you've also got to look at that Alabama's absolutely the biggest team that LSU has circled on its list this year. So Coach O is
Yeah,
going to watch more tape. He's going to do more research. He's going to do more game planning for that game than any other game.
yeah, I know.
But yeah. So anything else, man?
No, thanks for the call. Bye.
No problem. Bye. So, hey, what's up, Freddie G? How's it going, man? Fields is an offense, and that's best for him. And Froms is in an offense that's best for him. Yeah, I would agree. But both have to have the ability to. I think right now Ohio State has definitely got their foot on the gas pedal to try and make as many to just score away, and I don't think Georgia's offense is set up that way. We need to have a change in that offensive play room to make Georgia a more dominant force on the field. If we don't, we're gonna continue to struggle. It's not Jake; it's the timing with the wideouts. That's pretty accurate. Trask went 23 for 29 and 310, not bad at all for his first road start in a night game in Death Valley. No, it wasn't a bad outing for him. But everybody, and I mean everybody, told him, it was like Death Valley at nighttime. That's a big ticket item. That's not easy to no. So what you end up doing is you throw this guy in there and you just turn him loose and see what happens. And I mean he did better than a lot of people thought he would do, but it was kind of the outcome that we thought it was going to be. Hopefully by the time that Georgia gets to Florida, we've had an opportunity to tune the offense up. And it seems like Georgia is trying to do that in some phases of the game. If you go back and you look at the beginning of the year, there was like no passes. It was like almost no passes at all. And now as we're moving along through the year, you're seeing more and more passes. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I still think Georgia's trying to discover its identity in the offensive play calling arena, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. Dorito Bag said something and pulled it right back. I don't know what it was. Alabama can run the ball. They ran the ball really well against Texas A&M defense. Yeah, but everybody can have a pretty good game every now and then. I mean, look at Benny Snell. He was running all over everybody, and he run up against Georgia, and I think he ran for 50 yards that whole game. So, I mean, by the time you get late in the season, if you've only got one running back, he's going to be wore down. And Alabama, I think, only has one really premier running back right now. But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's hard to count those guys out. Somebody said Jake Fromm got a lead against. What did I say? Somebody said it. Hold on. Fromm got a lead against Bama the last 2 years in the defense, letting them come back. Yep. Yep. Kind of wish Franks didn't get hurt. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing that you can count on. It was Dan Mullen that made that decision, and he's still there. He made the decision to play Felipe Franks over Trask. So that just tells you how bad of a coach that guy is. UF was short on both number ones on offense and defense. Don't think LSU wins on a neutral field with a healthy Gator team. LSU or Alabama have the better offense. I would have to say Alabama does, just because they got 3 NFL caliber receivers. I mean, and 2 of those guys are probably NFL All-Star caliber receivers. I mean, those guys are phenomenal. If you watch those games and watch those catches, I've seen George Pickens make a couple of impressive catches, but over a couple of games. But I've been watching those guys, those Alabama guys have been doing it all last year and this year too. I mean, they're not missing a lick. and beat Deshaun Watson 45-40 in their year. Whew. So I think that what you're going to see. Hey, what's going on, Sarah? I think what you're going to see is you're going to see in this coming up game that Georgia is going to experiment with a few different things to try and get that offense rocking and rolling, and they're going to use this game as hopefully as a tune-up game. Um, University of Kentucky is not known for its defensive backs, so you'll probably see some changes there. I'm sure there's been some work done this week, and we'll kind of see how it goes. Alabama has the best receivers in terms of extending plays in open field, and they're the type of players that someone like Fromm needs. That is correct. UGA has destroyed us last year. For some reason, Kirby has had our number. I really think this year we break through. Who does Georgia play this week? We play Kentucky. Kentucky Wildcats. Don't ever doubt Bama. We don't have to win a Natty every year. We just put the best team out there we can. Yep. Better defense, Alabama or LSU? That is not a easy. That is not an easy question to answer. Let me pull it up here for you real quick. I mean, watching Alabama, I don't think they're number 2 in the country. Watching LSU, I don't think LSU is number 2 in the country at all. Where's it at? Where's that? Where's that? Where's it at? Where did I put it? Man, it just amazed me how after that game I had so many people that's like, "You're just like Uncle Lou," and I'm like, "Oh my God." I can see the similarities between me and a ton of other teams out there. So if you're asking me about who I think has the better defense, I would have to say I think Alabama has the better defense. They've only allowed over 28 points one time, um, and LSU's done that 3 times. They had to Florida. They gave up 38 points to Vandy, and they gave up 38 points to Texas. Now, while Texas is a top 10 ranked team, um, Texas A&M's 24, 24 points. I mean, to me, I personally think that Alabama's got a little bit better defense. Um, I just think they do. UGA, I could see the argument made for UGA having the best defense in the SEC. Georgia will win the Natty. Certainly possible. Jordan says LSU's defense is actually garbage. he don't pull no punches, man. He said LSU is garbage. Uh, I'm tempted to make a video just because of the trolls, man. Of why I'm fat. Oh man, it cracks me up. Cracks me up, man. LSU looks more like a Big 12 team. I agree, and what I think that this year there was a lot of focus put on that offense to really produce numbers and to get out there and get after it. And I really think that they're probably going to lean a little bit more back on that defense next year. Blake West says Alabama will beat LSU 52-35. I don't know, brother. That's I don't know. Uh, Jesse says would not surprise me if Bama beats LSU by 14 or more. What is Georgia's worst downfall this year? Not knowing how to throw the dead blame ball. Oh, and backup quarterbacks and third string quarterbacks are our weakness. If you play Georgia and you want to beat us, um, how much was that TV I broke? Play calling for sure. Um, Georgia has to make changes on the offensive line. Georgia wins out. I mean, we're certainly going to go to a playoff game. We'll see how it goes from there, but it's not going to be easy. If you take if you take any one of those if you take any one of those turnovers away when Georgia played South Carolina, the likelihood of Georgia winning that game skyrockets. I'm gonna show that comment. Man, come on, are you serious? Vandy puts 38 on them, and we're at home. We ain't gonna put up way more. Well, I see what you're saying, Blake. I see what you're saying, but you also got to take into consideration what I just said earlier. This game is circled. This game right here is circled on the calendar by Coach O. You're the only team that he has forced him to change his entire way of playing football is because of Alabama. Everything he's done is to beat Alabama. Nobody else. Those are all byproducts. All of those are just what's going to happen in on the way to beat Alabama. He's not building a football team to just play games. His entire offense is structured for one purpose, and that's to beat Alabama. That's it. He knows if he can beat Alabama, the rest will fall in line. So he's got all year, he's got all the tape, and he's continuing to watch it. He's watched Georgia take Alabama to the wire twice. And so that's what he's looked at to revamp his entire offense. That game, in my opinion, if it was played tomorrow with no prep, Alabama would probably win. But if you give them enough time to prep, it's going to be tough. I don't think it's circled the same way, Dustin. I just don't. Of course, he sees what they're doing. I think that both of those teams have made a shift to offense, and I think that their defense is not quite as good as it used to be, but they both still have good defenses. So I think by the time you get to that game, it's gonna be a fist fight. I really think so. He says Haywood says, Brad, I don't think I ever hear you use profanity. Is it a dad thing with the children around, or is it something else? Uh, it's not really because of the kids. It's really because when I get on here, sometimes I have young people that are on the channel. Sometimes I have ladies on the channel. It's just kind of a Southern gentleman thing. I will occasionally, use some profanity, but most of the time I try to refrain. I try to steer clear of that. It still slips out from time to time, but I try to stay away from that if I can. Florida UGA at night would be sick. Yes, yes, it would, but it would also result in a lot of people going to jail. Florida will never destroy your hedges. We have class. We also never. You guys never play in our stadium. We always play in Jacksonville. Hard to destroy the hedges there. I guess we could bring you some. Maybe. I don't know. I'll see you later, Dorito Bag. I'm sorry, man. I just saw that you said you were heading out, buddy. I try to interact with everybody on the channel. That's one of the things that I try pretty hard to do. Um, let's see here. Hold on. What is going on, man? Saban also has LSU circled. Ron, did you throw a comment earlier and I missed it, man? Kirby is still a young coach. You got to put together a better coaching staff around him. Yep, that's true. I know you have to sub defensive players a lot, but Aziz needs to be put out there to obvious passing downs. He's Eric Stokes is coming along. I think Monte Rice has got a lot of growing to do. Richard LeCount definitely needs to be put on the bench in my opinion. You have all the fans. FSU's are the worst ones. UGA doesn't wave around a gator head when they win. So more respect for them than the criminals. I don't like FSU, man. For anybody who knows me, I mean, there's teams out there that I can't stand. FSU is one of them. I used to be really hard on Tennessee, but after a year they're having, I feel sorry for those guys now. But no, FSU could go 0 and 11, 0 and 12, whatever, for the remainder of their football program, and I would not feel bad for those guys. SC looked like they won a natty after that win. They could have ended the season last week. Yeah, I don't blame them, man. They needed a big win. That was a big win for them. That's going to help that school a lot. So Florida State Criminals, Free Seafood University. Um, I've heard all kind of stuff for FSU. LSU versus Auburn could be interesting. Uh, Auburn's got a good defense, but Bo Nix is not what he was chalked up to be. Dustin said we're on the same page. I'm just not. I'm just not an FSU fan, man. One of the guys that was used to be my boss was at FSU, man. And he was just terrible. Blake West says is the best quarterback we've ever had. I've noticed that they get drafted, we get stuck looking for the next big player, maybe to his little brother or Mac Jones can step up. That's one thing I will say is that Georgia, at least Georgia's got Carson back on the way, and we've got DeJuan Mathis kind of waiting in the wings as soon as he gets healed up and ready to play, so we can put him back on the field. I'm interested to see what he can do. Um, Carson Beck, though, that guy is Tiger. Tiger Raven. I'm gonna let you know that your comment was caught by the filter, but I'm gonna show it anyway. But if Auburn took LSU for the SEC championship, Auburn would go bust in the playoffs. Yes, absolutely they would. Well, Auburn would have to beat LSU and Alabama to get into the SEC championship. What do I think about Aaron Murray getting drafted into the XFL? What are your thoughts on the disaster the XFL will probably turn out to be? And then John Thomas says, do you think UGA will make it to a national championship? Yes, I think they will. Will it be this year? I don't know, but we got some work to do if we're gonna win that. As far as Aaron Murray being drafted into the XFL, for those who have been on my channel for a long time, I actually used to cover the Alliance Football League, or whatever it was, the American Alliance Football League, and man, he was the quarterback of the Atlanta Legends, and they were just terrible. They started out with, golly, who was that guy? Was it Dobbs? Who was it? I can't remember. But the starting Tennessee for Kentucky or for Georgia was a ex Tennessee player. In one game they were losing so bad they put Aaron Murray in. Aaron Murray comes out just guns a blazing, going down the field, looked great, and then throws a pick. And then starts the next game, looks like crap. Plays the next game, continues looks like crap. And it was just, you can see that Aaron Murray, while he's a great guy, and I've actually got autographed pictures with him. I've got autographed gear with him. I got a signed hat from him. I got signed jersey from him. The guy's he's not NFL talent. He's not a big guy. Do I think Kentucky has a chance? I have to say yes, because I didn't think South Carolina had a chance of being within 20 points of us, and they beat us. Um, does Georgia want Bama? I don't necessarily want Bama. I just want to win a national championship. Alabama loses 4 this year. Auburn loses 4 this year. Bo Nix and that high school offense only goes so far. Listen, Bo Nix may not be a great quarterback, but they have a wide receiver out there who's probably the fastest wide receiver in the SEC. And regardless of whether or not he's talented, if you can create that kind of space just from your pure speed, you should be able to create some explosive plays here and there. Jordan High School. Whew. Ron Strickland says, but Jake is. Duff says, I'll be honest, I'm so tired of Bama in the championship. I wouldn't mind seeing UGA if it had to pick one of the others other than my Gators. I had an English Bulldog. I really did. I had an English Bulldog. But the fastest wide receiver had -4 yards versus University of Florida. That wasn't just his fault, man. Like I said, he should be able to create space. I didn't say he was always going to. I had an English Bulldog, and those dogs are a lot of upkeep. Um, you can't take them outside. They get hot too easy. They overheat. Have a lot of health issues. Somebody's got to constantly take care of them. When they go to the bathroom outside because they don't have a tail, they can't really clean themselves. They can't properly finish the job, and so that ends up with you using baby wipes and somebody using baby wipes to clean them up before they come inside. It is a lot of work. So with a wife and 3 kids, and that usually ends up falling on the wife, and kids don't want to do it. It's just too much. And then if you go out of town, it's even worse. I love them. They're great dogs, but no, I just Bo Nix is going to be a good quarterback. He is. He's going to be good, but he's got a long road to go yet. Dustin said if he loses, he's pulling for us to win the SEC. If right now, if Georgia can beat Florida in a convincing manner and get its offense turned around, we certainly have the talent on the field to compete for a national championship. If we don't, then we won't. Tennessee puts over under 21 points on Bama's D. I would say under. I would definitely say under. South Carolina was only able to muster 3, and I think they have a far better offense than Tennessee did. 23, excuse me. Great Florida defense. I wish it had been great last weekend. Is what it is. If you're tired of seeing Bama in the championship, all you got to do is beat them. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all because Auburn beat them, and Bama still ended up in the championship. So I was at a yard sale the other day. I love yard sales, by the way. And somebody had this little coaster. So one of them little ceramic ones, man. I was like, man, I got to have that for the studio. It's perfect, man. Yeah, yeah, Sarah. When I had our dog's name was Buford, and I used to show pictures to him to everybody, man. Everybody loved that dog. It was a great dog, but uh, he one day he just got it in his head that um, my daughter was laying on the couch and got really excited about something, and she jumped up real quick and didn't touch the dog. Wasn't even close to the dog, really. He jumped up and he bit her on the back of the leg, and when I say he bit her on the back of the leg, you could see every tooth mark from his top and bottom jaw where he bit her leg. And nah, we found a bulldog rescue um, group, and they came in and they evaluated the dog, and then they found a retired couple that didn't have any kids around. Wasn't likely he'd be startled, and he's been with them, and he's been very happy ever since. So, yeah. Oh, nice, Jesse. UGA should run deeper routes over the middle, and James Cook more involved. He's an Alvin Kamara type back, just a matchup nightmare in a passing game. I agree, especially with James Cook's speeds. I mean, he could be absolutely just could obliterate people, and that's more what we got to do. I mean, really, we've got to be able to step out there and make us respect him on the pass game. I think I paid 11 or 1200 for mine when I got him. So yeah, they're expensive, Dustin. Woo. Well, guys, it's getting on about 9:30 here. I only wanted to do an hour tonight, but coming up this Saturday, we're going to be playing Tennessee. I don't even know what time that game is, and I'm not worried about it. Let me see. What time do we play? Let me check that real quick. I want to say it's 6 o'clock. Let me see if I can find it. It is, yep, 6 o'clock in Athens. Tickets as low as $30. That's cheap. It's cheap suits, cheap suits. Lynn Bowden named to ESPN midseason team for All-American teams is all-purpose. Yep. Yeah, Boxer's got a heck of a bite too. Our O-line haven't played up to the hype as much. Yeah, I agree with that, VT Dub. Definitely. I can't put that on her, Haywood. But it's funny though. Sarah says go Dogs and roll ties. And we're playing Kentucky. Yeah, playing Kentucky at night. Sorry, man. I'm kind of tired. Been a long day. The wife bought a recliner today. I had to go get it and bring it and tote it and all that fun stuff. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. You guys have been awesome as usual. Even the trolls, we appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. You guys have a great day. God bless. Go Dogs.